Hello and welcome to Lights
Camera
Convo. I'm Walid Chaya.
I'm Kavita Raj.
And we're joined today with special guest, the talented actor Haaz Sleiman. Hi, Haaz.
Hi, Walid. Hi, Kavita.
Hi, so wonderful
We're
to
so
see you.
excited for today's episode.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my
I'm
God.
very excited
Yes.
to be here as well.
We're in great company.
Today's episode is all things Haaz, okay? Kavita, are you as
Superstar.
excited as I am?
I am so excited to hear about the whole journey, the story, what you've been up to. Brilliant actor.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe we call this episode The Wizard of Haaz.
The Wizard of Haaz. I love that. That is the name of today's episode.
The
The
Wizard of
unofficial
Haaz.
title.
I love.
From his pivotal role as Tarek in
Yes.
The Visitor to his recent appearances in Apple Plus's Little America.
Yep.
Heard of that show,
Yes,
seen
yes,
it, right?
yes.
And let's not forget Marvel's The Eternals, plus the Emmy Award-winning series, one of my favorites, Nurse Jackie. Haaz, we are so pleased to have you with us today. And that's just a little cherry on top of the work you've done.
Thank
Incredible
you. Yeah, thank you
project,
so
Haaz.
much. You even mentioned Breaking Fast, so I appreciate that you
Yes,
included that in
and
there.
that is in the official bio. Let's not forget Breaking Fast, directed and written by Mike.
Mike Salam, Lebanese.
We love you,
American.
Mike.
Yes, we love
So
you, Mike.
talented.
Very talented.
Yes.
He's a star.
Wow.
He's going to be blowing up soon. And I'm so
Okay, and
excited that I was the first actor to be the lead in his first feature film. And
Yes.
he's going to be a big superstar.
Breaking Fast. You don't want to miss that film. If you've missed it, catch it.
If you love rom-coms, it's a really good one.
I
Yes.
love. This is so incredible. Tell us about these projects that you've been on and the journey.
Just a little sneak peek.
Yeah.
We want to know.
Well, it was really interesting because I'm 47 and I started acting in 2000.
You look so great.
Thank you. In 2005. I've been a professional actor since around 2005.
Okay.
And so back then, terrorists were really in. You know?
Right. So it's all you probably auditioned for.
It was a lot.
I
a
hear
lot
ya.
of
I
and
know,
so
God.
so then right, so you can relate. I mean, wait, how old are you?
How old do I
You're
look?
very young. huh?
I'm 33.
yeah, like
But no,
he's-
but you
He's
know.
a baby.
you're a baby.
Yeah.
But
Oh, the
I'm
first few
49.
co-stars booked are all me
Yeah.
with a gun
My
with an
God,
accent.
you're stunning.
Do you know what I mean? The first few co-stars I booked were me with a gun with an accent.
right,
Blacklist,
exactly.
Madam Secretary. Catch me on those shows playing a
And
terrorist,
Blacklist
perhaps.
came much later, by the way. In my era, it was 24, dude. Like it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm old school, and it was very discouraging. However, I can say that I was maybe one of the few lucky ones where I got opportunities like The Visitor, like Nurse Jackie, where
Yeah.
I get to portray Middle Eastern characters that were like human and multifaceted, and not just like one dimensional
yeah.
terrorist accent,
Yeah.
gun, and whatnot. So I can say that I can easily say I'm very grateful that even though I started in that era of terrorism, where Middle Eastern people were hot because of terrorism, you know how the Russians were hot back in the Cold
Yes,
War, and
Russian
all of
spies.
that. Right, exactly. So
I feel like
in
I'm
a
gonna be
way,
laughing.
They're character
this
types. They're character types.
it
yeah.
opened
That is-
doors though
it
in
did
a
open
way,
doors.
and
Hey,
so
you know
it's
what?
it's
I
a
mean-
paradox. But
Yeah.
I can say I'm lucky that I wish though I get an opportunity like The Visitor now.
Right.
Films like that don't come often, and Richard Jenkins told me that he's like, "Don't get used to it, Haaz. Those roles come once in a lifetime." I was like, and then now, of course, I look back, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, he's right."
But how amazing to have had that moment of insight that, you know what, I have to take that and I have to do it. And, you know, every opportunity, though, leads to something. Every acting role is an experience, right?
Oh, yeah, of
I
course,
mean,
yeah.
yes, it's upon us, people, you know, of these varying descents to be able to sometimes break that stereotype or kind of challenge that mold.
Yes, yeah,
However, at the end of the day, these are important roles. And some of the
Yeah.
best roles have been like maybe a terrorist role, but it is a great role. If it's a meaty role, it's
Right.
kind of like tough to say no is what I'm saying.
I've portrayed a few of those.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, one of them has been one of my best performances, which was on Jack Ryan, and I'm very proud of it.
Whoa.
Even though it's on Amazon opposite John Krasinski, and it's one of my best performances. And even though it's a
love that
terrorist
show.
part, a lot of people walked away like, I was rooting for you. I wanted you to like succeed, and
Yes.
so that
That
made
is
me
so
happy because
fire.
I was
What a
able
great
to
show.
humanize that
Yeah.
character. Did you see it?
I
Season-
love
Oh, you
Jack
saw season
Ryan.
1?
I'm obsessed
Awesome.
with Jack
So
Ryan.
you
yeah.
remember me in
This
it,
is
or-
incredible.
Actually, my sister told me that was the first performance. I was watching my brother, and I forgot I was watching my
That
brother,
is so
and
fire.
that meant
That is
Wow.
a big
Thanks,
compliment.
sis.
why-
You know that I'm going to go back and watch that today
Please,
because I love
I mean, it's a really good season 1. Is
Yeah.
again, I don't know why always the seasons that I'm in are the best ones.
Can I ask?
That
Sounds
where
like
was
I'm gonna be
my-
like, I'm gonna be fangirling this whole episode now. That's what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna be a
Yes, we
host. I'm
love
gonna be
it.
like fangirling.
We're here
Where
for
was
it.
that
I'm-
filmed?
I'm fanboying right here in front of you with all this gorgeousness.
Oh my God! Look at us.
Yes, we have hotties here on our show. That's so exciting.
great.
Between all these projects, what's been, the common thread here in terms of characters you find yourself playing?
Well, like obviously they come to you. So, in that sense, you don't have that much control. And so it's you and your destiny, fate, luck, whatever you want to call it. And also your representation. It's
Yeah.
all of that combined. And then whatever comes to you, you don't get to choose what comes to you. And you get to choose what you want to audition for, yes. But even then, like if you're trying to survive, you don't get that luxury. It's a luxury. Oh, I don't want to say yes to this. I'll say yes to this. So at the beginning of your career, my career, I didn't have that luxury. But over time, when I would get offered parts, that's when I started to like say no to terrorist roles. And it felt so good to say no.
Yeah.
And so long story short, I would say when you're in control is when you start writing.
Right.
But
Yes.
before you
We can
write,
talk about that.
you're not in control, and it's what comes to you is what comes to you. And then you either say yes or no, depending on how empowered you feel as an artist or an actor in the body of work that you have at that point,
Wow.
We
Preach,
always
Haaz.
we always talk about the importance of being a creative in this field as an artist of a diverse origin. It's very important if you
Yeah.
want your stories to be told.
Yes.
You have to tell
you
your
can't
story.
sit back passively wait
Don't
for
wait.
someone else to bring that to you.
Exactly.
And as you said, as an emerging artist, you're like constantly like, I can't say no to that. I can't afford to
Yeah.
say no to this
Right.
audition. I have to do
Right.
this.
It's a big producer. You want to be seen. You want to be visible,
Right.
even if it's a
Absolutely.
terrorist role. Like if it's
Oh,
It's
my
a
God.
credit. It's an
1000%.
IMDb. It's a paycheck.
like a Quentin Tarantino. I'll play a terrorist, absolutely,
I
for
will
Quentin
play
Tarantino.
anything,
right?
like
For
in a
Quentin
Tarantino,
Tarantino.
or
Right,
like
for instance,
on
yeah.
an Amazon Prime show. Meaning, all this to say that as a creative, when you start writing projects, you're helping yourself and other
Yes.
people in your community that want to
Yes.
share those stories.
And
My
I
God,
would-
this is so amazing. I know that we could just be chatting 19 to the dozen. We were just like on a roll. And in this section, kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about the journey, the milestones that you were kind of hitting that really started resonating with you and started making you feel like, okay, you know what? This is where I want to be. I'm kind of doing this the way I want to do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Because initially, when I started acting, I was not sure, is this really for me? I wanted to be a recording artist, really. I'm a
Oh.
singer-songwriter as well.
Wow.
But that didn't work
Oh.
out for me because I had some Middle Eastern influence in my music. And then 9/11 happened.
Oh,
And then, like, all the A&Rs that were recording different record labels, they were like, we're not going to touch this. Who's going to want to listen to terrorist music? I'm like, oh,
Oh my
gosh.
God, yeah.
And so for me, a friend said, why don't you pursue acting? And that's when it just, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then I took an acting class in Lebanon, actually. So at the Lebanese American University.
Nice.
So I kind of caught a little acting bug then. And then when I started pursuing acting, The Visitor is when everything changed. When I booked
Wow.
The Visitor, and then we shot it, and then we were doing this the film festival circuit. At one of the film festivals, after a screening, we did a Q&A, and then we were done. We were walking out of the theater, and then this lady, white American lady, was chasing me down. It's like, Haaz, like running after me. And I'm like, hi. She's like, hi. I just want to say something. Thank you so much for your performance. Because of your performance, I will never look at Arab men the same way again.
Wow.
Goosebumps.
That I
That's-
just,
I have
I
goosebumps.
yeah.
And
Same
I
here.
actually got goosebumps actually when it
course.
happened because she made me understand the power of storytelling and the power that I have as an artist to change people's minds, to empower, to enlighten, to make them maybe not be blind,
Yeah.
to make them see things, see the truth
Yeah.
in people in different cultures. It was a very powerful moment that made me realize, oh, this is what I'm meant to do.
This is why you
So-
do.
Yeah,
what
so
you're
that was
doing.
probably one of the biggest moments of my career where I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm meant to do. This is
I-
my calling," and it really changed the game for me. The way I approached acting, actually, after that.
Wow, this is it. You know, it's overwhelming. It's bringing like so many emotions, and you know, when people choose to be informed, right? It really helps society. It helps the community. It helps all of us. We're in a time where there is so much information accessible to everyone. Misinformation or lack of being like aware of such, you know, cultural differences and celebrating them is difficult to digest when people don't have that. And for people to then come up to you and say, your work made me learn something and I will look at it differently. It's great. It is amazing. It makes you feel like, okay, fine, it's going somewhere.
Right.
You know?
I mean,
It's
just
frustrating otherwise.
Oh, well, I mean, it's even more important now than it has ever been because of what you're saying, misinformation, but the lies have spread like wildfire, way more than the truths nowadays on social media. The lies in politics.
It's called alternate truth.
Right. And then as we know in politics, that's being the trend, right? And lately, even like with Russia's influence on America's politics, it's also misinformation and lies, or with the Trump era, let's just say, he's been the pioneer of that movement. And for me, as an artist, first and foremost, I'm a truth teller. That's my job. It's to show the truth and to show the truth to the world, to enlighten through my work. And so it's even more important now than ever. And I try to do that in everything, in every performance, in every role that I have to portray. I try to always be a truth teller. That's my first and foremost important, point of focus.
But what a major project to be part of. That was like amazing that was such a great way for you to like kind
pave
of
the path.
Yeah.
And influence. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I'm very lucky. I love working with writer-directors. Tom McCarthy is a writer-director, is my favorite kind of directors and storytellers to be working with, who are writer-directors, and he's also an actor, so he
gets the process.
He gets the process. He knows how to communicate with other actors. We had a 2-week rehearsal period, which is unheard of. Which usually happens with play and theaters.
Correct.
Plays
Film
and
does
theater.
not rehearse.
Yeah, they don't. And he was like, no. He was adamant. 2 weeks rehearsal time, which was incredible and was such a gift. But also working with Richard Jenkins. I mean, he's a treasure. What a precious artist he is. And Hiam Abbas, our beautiful Palestinian iconic actor.
Wow.
I mean, she is like, talk about a powerhouse. She is a powerhouse.
Yes.
She is she is the pioneer of truth telling. I look up to her and I follow her examples. And I really just working with her and then Richard and Dana Gurira, also an amazing artist, actor. She's been making history over and over. I was very lucky to be part of that company and working with Tom McCarthy, who's continued to produce more and more beautiful movies, and Spotlight is one of them that won Oscar for Best Film.
Yeah.
When it came out, I forgot what year that was. So I feel very lucky that I had that experience. And like Richard said, movies like that don't come so often. You know, it's very rare and they're very special.
Yeah, but they're part of your body of work, and they're going to be leading to such incredible things for you in the coming years.
Yeah, speaking of not having rehearsal when you film, so let's just tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about that. You mentioned for theater, for plays and musicals, we go to rehearsal.
Yes.
We go to rehearsal on the daily till the show opens.
Like at least a month.
Right. Now
And
for
then we
film,
have the tech week as well. Yeah.
Film TV, that doesn't exist.
No.
So how does, unless it's a special circumstance like you just
TV
mentioned.
for sure doesn't exist. TV, because it's so fast
So fast
paced.
to get those episodes
At least
out.
in film, you still have time. And also on the day when you're filming a scene, you get to do many takes on film. But on TV, you don't. You get maybe 2 takes if you're lucky.
So how does someone like you prepare without rehearsal being provided formally?
Oh, you study and prepare your lines like an animal. You really make sure you know everything inside out. You don't leave one stone unturned. You understand your character, the story, what it's about. You understand each scene thoroughly. Sometimes I actually fight with the directors. I'm like, I don't want to rehearse with you today. I'm going to show up the next day because I have an emotional scene. I know what I'm doing. And they don't like it. But when I stick to my guns, man, I show up and I show out. And it's not the best way always to do that, though, I have to say. You have to always, you don't want to make enemies, So you always want to be the actor who's easy to work with. You don't want to develop a reputation you're difficult to work with. A diva or difficult to work with is not a reputation you want to be, you want to have. Because people would want to work with people like that, It makes sense. I get it.
And hey, Haaz.
Hey, Walid, hey, Kavita.
Yeah,
It sounds like it could be a chance. Hey, Haaz. Hey, Haaz. That could be fun. Bring in the
Exactly.
derbaki, bring in the drums, the tambourine.
Just don't ask me to play the derbaki.
No?
Even though I had to learn it for the visitor.
But you'll sing and
Wizard
Well,
dance.
it's not a
of
derbaki, that was a
Haaz.
djembe.
But you'll sing and dance. I've seen you, jam out.
Hey,
to
you know
some-
what? Now that you kind of told us that you
Yeah.
are also a singer-songwriter.
Right.
So,
That's
hey,
what I'm
you
saying.
know,
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
you know, that's it.
We all
Now-
learned something
I'll just keep
new.
my pants on though. Can
Oh
I?
my gosh, yes. And Chippendale dancer, but that's
Yeah.
No,
in
in
the
the
off
Visitor. It's a
hours.
reference in the Visitor. That's what I was making.
Oh,
there you have it.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Oh, my
Where
God, The
my character
Visitor.
takes off his pants.
Yes.
He's rehearsing in his underwear. That was my choice, actually. And I
Really?
brought it up to the director because I was watching as rehearsals.
Okay.
I was preparing, watching Fela Kuti, documentaries about Fela Kuti because my character idolized Fela Kuti, an African icon
Okay.
from Nigeria.
Okay.
And one of them, he was rehearsing in briefs, underwears,
Mm-hmm.
with a 50-member band. And while he was smoking a joint, I was like, Tom, I have to be rehearsing in my underwear. It's in honor of Fela Kuti. And then Tom brilliantly brought it back and had Richard Jenkins' character say to my girlfriend in the film, don't worry, I'll keep my pants on, which was hilarious.
I love that.
That is so
I love
fire.
that. If you haven't
That is
seen
so
The Visitor,
genius.
check that out to catch that scene. You're
Yes.
not going to want to miss it. And we're going to dive into all things from The Visitor and on to learn more about Haaz.
Yeah, what did that project lead on to, and what was, so many amazing stories in that itself.
Well, I mean, I was nominated for an Independent Spirit Award, which at the time I was not aware of how amazing that was.
Super
Fire.
significant.
Now
Super,
looking back, I was like, I'm
super.
so grateful that I was acknowledged or my performance was,
That's incredible.
I was nominated. I lost to James Franco's performance in Milk.
Oh,
We
So-
love James Franco.
We love James
too.
Franco.
It's all
yes,
love.
We
that's
love
all
James
love, my
Franco.
God, wow. But what an esteemed company to be part
Yes.
of.
Yeah,
People
totally.
always say that they feel just so blessed to be in that circle.
Yeah, I would have loved to have won, but of course, I'm happy that James won. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be like, oh, being nominated is no. I of course would have loved to, because we're talking about back in the time where still Arabs are being just shown in one way. They're all terrorists. So getting that kind of acknowledgement helps you get out of that funky sort
sure.
of
Yeah.
area.
Into the
100%.
mainstream light
Yes,
like
exactly.
everyone else. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%.
So
exactly.
all this buzz for the Eternals, I mean, big word here, Marvel. Tell us everything. Where do we even begin? Where do you want to begin?
Well, I was supposed to be one of the Eternals. That's
Okay.
where I'm going to begin.
Okay.
Tell
And
us
I
the
remember I
juice.
auditioned just like every normal audition, and it was all high, but like top secret. Nobody's supposed to know what it is. I didn't even know what I was auditioning for.
Okay.
They gave me sides that were just dummy sides from whatever. I don't know what. I had no idea what the thing was about, but I understood the scene and I killed it. And then they came back to me after a year passed, and then my agents were like, "So Haaz, they're offering you a part in the Eternals." Marvel's Eternals, starring Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, and I'm like, huh?
What?
And then I'm like, how's that? When did I audition for that? And then I was like, oh, it's that one. And I was supposed to be one of the Eternals, but I don't think they were ready for an Arab Eternal. I mean, they gave it to a half.
ready.
We're
They gave it
ready.
to a half Lebanese Eternal, which is Salma Hayek.
Right.
She's half Lebanese, half Mexican.
Right.
But I don't think they were ready for a full-blooded Arab Lebanese superhero.
Okay.
So then they offered me to be the husband of the first openly gay superhero in a Marvel film. So that
Okay.
was history in the making,
That is,
played
yeah.
by Brian Tyree Henry. And I was like, sure, I'll do it, even though I honestly was a little bit bitter that I was not one of the Eternals. But of course, you're not going to say no.
No,
when
such a great
it's-
project.
And the great cast is very diverse cast.
Mm-hmm.
We had Indian character. We had a deaf character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it was really covering all different kinds of marginalized people as superheroes. So it was an exciting movement to it.
That's beautiful.
And also, I'm really proud that it was my idea to speak in Arabic and Lebanese specifically. And I brought it up to Chloe Zhao, the amazing writer-director Chloe Zhao. And she said, yeah, I love the idea. And then we got the okay from Disney because they didn't want me to write the line. They wrote the line.
Okay.
And they said, now you translate it in Arabic however you want to and just say it. I said, well, can I mention my mom? Because I need to mention my mom in our culture. The
Yeah.
Arab boys and their mamas, we
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
special thing.
Mama's voice. Oh.
Well, the Arab culture, like for some reason, men and their moms, it's a very
Indian culture too.
yeah, so you can relate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, like that was probably my favorite thing because I would get like many of my fans in Lebanon sending me videos of them in the movie theaters, hearing me speak in Lebanese, and they go, "Oh, Alamo!" So they go crazy
in your dialect
in
too, of
their
course,
dialect,
yeah.
and they're like they felt validated, which is crazy.
Represented. They felt
Represented.
represented.
You're not only You mentioned earlier the importance of writing. So you're not only pushing the needle by talking about the importance of writing and creating projects, but also within a project that's created by someone else, that's pre-existing. You are pushing the narrative by introducing these elements into your role. You're going and taking the initiative to talk to the director and the producer and be like, can we add this in? This
Because
is so important
it's
for
a
my
good-
culture. If you're going to
yeah.
represent my culture, let me say it a little
Well,
bit.
that's a really good point you're raising. But the thing is, the character was not in any way ethnically defined.
Gotcha.
So I was like, ooh. So he's neither
an
this.
opportunity.
I was like, maybe I could speak
let's just do
Arabic.
this, yeah.
That would be fun. And because it's not ethnically
Even
defined,
better.
I was like, let me maybe show Arabs in a good light in a Marvel film, and where Arab is heard, but it's not like the bad guy.
That's
It's actually
that's
we repres-
even better.
It's even better, and we
Yeah.
represent humanity. Me and the husband and our child, we represented humanity in a Marvel film, which was huge. And I was like, oh, this would be a great place for me to do that. So yeah,
So
absolutely.
almost why not, right? Exactly.
Well,
Why not take that opportunity?
I
and
had
do
to,
that? Yeah,
and I was
had to.
like determined, and it worked. And even on Jack Ryan, I
I
did that
love,
as well. Like I was constantly trying to humanize my characters in any shape or form I can find. I'm always looking and trying to figure things out. I'm always thinking, even on set, I'm always thinking, how can I go deeper and be more specific? You know, the more specific, the better.
That's incredible.
That's like,
you know,
as
that
an
is-
acting coach here, those are the words that bring joy to my heart. Make it
Absolutely.
specific. Who are you really picturing? What is the backstory? And Haaz, you seem to do all this research and your brain is probably racing, especially when you're on set. So where do you pull your research information from? Or do you do deep web dives? Do you read books? Can you tell us more about that?
Everything and anything. Honestly, nothing is
Off
wrong.
limits,
Yeah,
yeah.
off limits. Everything is correct. Meaning,
Okay.
it's just about being curious and being connected to the story and knowing what the story is about, knowing your character, and then just basically based on that, you do your research and your homework. But yeah, there's no limit to how you approach it in terms of
Constantly
research.
learning, right? Constantly
Well,
learning and
you're.
growing from
It's
that.
about being as curious as possible. Like endless, limitless amount of curiosity is really, I think, so important for artistry.
Just
You know,
being
if you
open to receiving.
if you're not curious, as an artist, you're doing half-ass of a job. I
100%.
believe. Yeah.
100%. And then did that lead to Nurse Jackie after that?
Yes and no. I got Nurse Jackie before the producers have seen me in The Visitor, and it was just purely
wow.
out of my chemistry with Edie Falco because I was in love with her. I'm
We
still in
all
love with
love
her.
Edie Falco.
Yeah, I'm still in love with her.
Aw.
But it was just purely my chemistry with her. I was making choices in the room, like where I was like, okay, I'm gonna put my head on her shoulder. I hope she reacts to it. And she did, and she put her head on my head.
Oh my
And they all were like, okay, this is it.
Nurse
Like,
Jackie at you.
yeah, so for me, and then if you watch season
Such a
1, which
genius.
I'm in, you would see the chemistry between me and her. It's not
It's hard to
put
miss,
on.
Haaz.
It's
It's
not.
incredible.
It's not acting. It was
Yeah.
purely I was in love with her. Action. I was like, let's play. It was just so much fun. I learned so much watching her. It was. Yeah. So I would say, I booked it without them knowing anything about The Visitor, and I got nominated while I was filming Nurse Jackie. That I found out I got the nomination for The Visitor. So it was a coincidence.
Snowball
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it was timing. It was a great timing on my end. I felt like the luckiest guy to have the opportunity to play, again, history in the making. The first openly gay Muslim character in the history of American television was on Nurse Jackie.
That is
Momo de la
Yes.
Cruz, who was Muhammad de la Cruz, so he was half Arab, half Puerto Rican.
okay. I love it.
And now we're gonna dive right back into Nurse Jackie. I mean, such
Yeah.
an iconic show.
Show, my God.
Iconic cast, iconic breakthrough gay Muslim character premiering on American television, starring you, Haaz. So
Well, I mean, co-starring. Yeah.
co-starring
Starring
you, but
Edie. Yeah.
Well, yeah, starring Edie, absolutely. But that character of Mo, that's all yours.
Yeah.
So talk about creating this character of Mo in his world.
Well, that was such a blessing, but my God, I was in the closet. So, be careful what you ask for. And when you become visible and people's like eyes are on you, the question starts to come. And initially I was so excited to do it, and I was so thrilled. And then when I did it, and it was released, and that it was now belonged to the people, and the people were consuming it, they were falling in love with my character. And I was surprised. It's not something you were like, people are gonna. No, you put your work and you just let it go.
Yeah.
And people were falling in love with my character. But then the question started to be asked: Is Haaz gay? Is he straight? And So it was a really
We
interesting
should have
ride.
the Google search thing. Is Haaz.
It's in the
That's so
past.
funny.
I've 2017. I clarified everything. I came out to the world, so that's no more a
Wow,
question.
that's
But
amazing.
what happened is that I told Showtime because the Advocate wanted to interview me for that role, and I told Showtime no personal questions, please. And then they promised me. They said yes. We told the Advocate no personal questions. So the person that interviewed me tricked me, and then at the end of the interview, after half an hour, he said, "Are you gay or straight?" And I lied. I said I was straight.
Oh.
And years it like ate me up on the inside, but not to like put a damper on it or be a Debbie Downer. I wanted to
No,
answer.
that's part of
your,
the story. That's part
But,
of the
but that,
conversation.
is
yeah.
that what you wanted to know,
Well,
though?
the
You're-
character of Mo, the creation of his world, how did that come to be? Did it, change episode to episode as you learned more? Did you have a great idea going in right away? What was that like?
Yeah, Alan Coulter was the director of the pilot, who's an icon. He's an iconic director. I think he also directed the pilot for The Sopranos, and he's an icon.
Yeah.
When I auditioned for it, it was wow, how cool! A character that is an Arab character that is humanized. He's not a terrorist. Amazing. Another opportunity for me, not the visitor only, but now I get to do this again. But now even a Muslim gay character, so that was exciting, because we're talking about 2008, 9, where it was still not a thing to see Arab characters being portrayed more humanly or humanely, and so it was another opportunity to do that. And then on set, when we were filming the pilot, Alan kept saying, "Gay it up more, Haaz, more," and I was like, I don't know about that. Why you like? And it became clear he wanted to go more stereotypical with the gay portrayal of that character. He wanted to gay him up and with the bent down wrist and whatnot. And he really was adamant about it.
But it
I
does
didn't.
seem like such a crossover between your personal life story and experiences and the show. And there seems to be so much of that personal investment of the journeys, right?
Oh, totally.
There
I
seems to be,
mean,
like
there's-
parallel journeys.
Well, there's a
within
lot.
the-
Of course, there's a lot I had in common. Well, I had in common with that character, but the fact that I was Muslim and gay, you could say those are the two things. But aside from that, I could do whatever I wanted to do with the
Right.
character. I had carte blanche in my mind, but in terms of Alan's mind, he had a different idea. I didn't agree with him. I didn't like it. It was really put me off, and I was very upset. But I said, just keep it together, Haaz, and do your work and make him think that, yeah, I'm gonna give you that. But then when it says action, do whatever you want to do. And that's what I did. And the
Okay.
reason why he didn't notice is because I was doing good work and I was coming up with good choices. Like for instance, when oh my gosh,
Which moment from the
Mrs.
story?
Acolytus.
Mrs. Acolytus.
When she comes
Yeah.
and I'm like with the new nurse,
Yeah.
and then she comes and I just do this like she's a vampire.
cross, yeah.
Like, and so these are my choices, and he would love them. Or
He
even like
loved
there's a
them.
moment where I was walk and talk with Edie, and there was a technical problem. I said, well, why don't I flip her around and then push her and walk the other way? And I would come up with things like that he would love. It would
So
distract him from the other stuff that he would want from me. So it's, when there's a will, there's a way. You
So
find a way
amazing.
to make it work, and you're feeling good about it, about what you're doing. Because I wouldn't have felt good if I hadn't done that, honestly, about my performance.
No, but clearly you brought forth your creative energy into this and your ability to, on the fly,
Yeah.
come up with genius ways to, add volume to that character that
I have
he
to
wanted.
give credit to Alan about that, because he kept saying on set, thinking. I was like, what the hell does he mean by that? And then it's really just constantly on your feet, making sure you're not taking it for granted. You're not too comfortable. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's when
You
you
have to be comfortable being
Love.
uncomfortable.
And that's when you can create,
Let
be
that
creative.
digest.
Yeah.
Let that digest.
Your
Pushing
creative
yourself out of
juices
those
can like start
comfort zones.
flowing, and it's
Well, people say
We
when
did talk
you
about that.
step out of your comfort zone, that's when you find your true self and you find your most success, because you're pushing yourself, you're pushing the boundaries, you're on the edge.
Yeah, you're not like dictated by fear. You're actually from acting from a place where it's your heart is leading the way rather than the fear.
My
is
God, I'm
dictating.
taking these nuggets today. This is so amazing. This is so inspiring. I'm like going to sit with this all day today and be like, I want to remember these words. My God,
Yes.
Haaz, this is like.
Let's play a
Thank you
trivia
for
game.
sharing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
How's that? Let's
Yeah,
play
get to
trivia.
yes,
do it.
absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our trivia segment. Haaz, you're going to answer it for us today.
Yeah. Okay.
And this question is is mentioning one of my favorite directors. Okay, one of my favorite writers, directors, and actors. Actually, I should say, who's also Lebanese. Well, you are one of them, Haaz, but this one particularly is Nadine Lebaki.
Oh, yeah.
We love Nadine.
We love Nadine.
Nadine Lebaki, a prominent filmmaker from Lebanon, gained international acclaim for her film Capernaum. In what year was Capernaum nominated for an Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film?
Oh.
Was it A, 2017, B, 2018, C, 2019, or D, 2020?
Oh my gosh, any one of those
That's
actually, because they're very close. And for me, tricky one. I 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kavita, what
you're
do you
right.
think?
It's 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That was like
20.
That was great.
that was a lucky guess though.
Yeah,
It was,
because they're
it
like
was-
close range.
It was the year before COVID hit.
Okay, yeah.
right.
And I
right,
remember
okay.
Nadine Lebaki's film made such an impact, speaking of impact and being a voice for Middle Eastern representation,
Yeah.
that Oprah invited Nadine Lebaki to her house because Oprah saw the film and wanted to have Nadine over for dinner.
I
That
didn't
is
know
so
that.
How cool is that?
That's
That's so
amazing. I didn't know
insane,
that.
man.
Wow, that's so
And
cool.
so
Yeah.
these are the kinds of steps and leaders and artists that we want in our path, paving the way for us and for
Yeah.
generations to come.
And
The-
hopefully I'll get to work with her.
You know, I
Yes,
love the
Hi,
word-
Nadine.
We love you, Nadine.
We
Call
love
us.
you. Yeah. Me and Lily. Cast
And
us in your next film.
representation, right? Speaking of representation and creation, being open, like you have been. I'm like sitting next to you and I'm feeling your very positive energy, meaning you're like so free with your generosity and your kindness, sharing your story. And this sharing is inspiring people. When they're listening to you, they're feeling empowered that they
I
too
hope
can
so.
do
I
this.
mean, I
They
hope so.
too can, take these moments, turn them into like a creative opportunity. And they too, if you're open-hearted, like you said, in the beginning you took roles that came your way, you made them as meaty and solid as you could, and now you're getting these different opportunities that are varied, and you are giving the best you can in this. So that's I want to ask you, Haaz, as you're going through this journey, being a creative, pushing the boundaries, taking every opportunity to kind of reflect on representation, what were some of the pivotal experiences you had when you were younger as an artist starting out? When did acting become a thought in your head and storytelling?
Well, I think when I took an acting class at the Lebanese American University, when I was studying to get a bachelor's of science in computer science.
Yeah, of course.
It's just to please the family. That was just
course,
like,
yeah.
you need to have a backup plan, but if you have a backup plan,
We've all done computer science to please the family.
Thank
right?
you, Kavita.
although I
I'm a diploma too.
really wish I didn't. But anyways,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
the
Of
past is the
course.
past.
Past is the past.
Yeah, and I did it to shut him up, and it worked.
Sure.
And but I actually took the acting class at the university, and then I saw a film version of Hamlet with Mel Gibson and Glenn Close. And then the scene where he was like in bed with his mom, and he was literally looking like he's about to, excuse me, but like F his mom. And I was just like, my mom is my world. So that messed up with my head. And I was like, I think I want to, I'm really love the idea of acting just from that scene. And that sort of created
Hit
this.
you so hard.
It did. It
made an impact.
It shocked me and it
Yes.
shook me at the core that I was like, it made me more curious about it. And apparently I had the talent for it, and I didn't even know it. My acting coach gave me a monologue, an Irish character with an Irish accent, and I had to prepare it, and he loved it. And he said, you need to go meet the director for the major production. And then she cast me to play one of the characters in that play. And that was my first experience as an actor in Lebanon. And then fast forward,
How old were you then?
I was 19.
Okay.
19.
And when did you move to the United States?
21.
Okay.
In August of 1997 to Michigan.
Oh, I was going to say to
Michigan.
where?
We're
all
Okay.
Dearborn.
Jinx,
Dearborn.
Little Lebanon.
How long? How long have you been in LA?
2004, since 2004. I've
Okay,
been here
so-
for a while. I
so
mean, this is
not,
home for me. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I've been living here more than anywhere else in the world.
Reflecting back on that early stages, I mean, that acting coach saw that spark in you and asked you to go audition for that role. What are some, thoughts that you would give your younger self? This is Walid's brilliant question. He asks
I love
our
this
guests
question.
this, and it's just his favorite question.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Be yourself. You're enough. You're worthy. Know who you are. don't like your previous guest, who was very wonderful to hear him
Yeah.
speak. I agree. Like, be yourself, be your authentic self. Don't try to be like anyone else. Even to emulating or being inspired by your idols is great, but like, be true to who you are. Know who you are. Know your worth. Don't seek to be validated from the things that happen on the outside, but rather you understand your value and your worth. You give your own self, your sense of self and worth. You have the power to do that. But being very young, I didn't know any of that stuff, and I didn't know the importance of that. But to me, that would be the biggest thing. And then secondly, write. Like, as an artist, know your power. Know where your power is, and the power in us in our artistry is to create our own, tell our own stories as well.
Yeah.
As an actor, that's where your power is. But I didn't even know that at a very young age. So that would be the second thing. And there's many other things. I can go on and on, but I think I'll leave it at
I
those
love
two.
the being true to yourself and that simple tactical task of writing.
Yeah.
Just write when you're younger. Keep doing it, right?
Like, tell your story
Yeah.
in a creative way. Have creative license and freedom to tell it, but like, however you want to tell it. Be truthful. It's a great exercise to being a truth teller as an artist, I think, telling your story.
Okay, why is our podcast turning into a wonderful therapy session for Walid and me every week? Oh my God, our guests are giving us free therapy every week. I am like
It's a part
overwhelmed
of
with
it.
emotion. at,
Honestly,
like,
it's a part of it, though. Like,
Yeah.
as an actor, it forced me to know myself better. It forced me to heal. Like, playing certain roles, it's really very healing.
Outlet in a way.
It's an outlet, but it's also cathartic. It heals you because you get to express certain struggles that you've experienced when you were younger. You get to release your demons in certain roles, in your portrayal in certain
Yes, that's what I was gonna
characters,
say.
and it's your dark.
Cathartic.
It's about embracing your dark side. It's not only being a light. Being a light, you have to know how to take the darkness and turn it into a light. And so that's part of the struggle, and that's part of the process as an actor, as an artist, turning darkness into light. In the words of our beloved icon, Carrie Fisher. She said once, and that's my religion. That's my Quran, or
Yes.
whatever you want to call it.
Love
the
it.
City.
Sex in the City. I love it.
Take your broken heart,
Perfect.
make it into art. So that's what I live by. Her words.
Oh, cheers to that,
Cheers to
guys.
that. I love it. Take your broken heart
Yes.
and make it
Into art.
I've also heard there is no heart without art.
Ooh, I
Because
like
you
that.
spell it with A-R-T.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
really is no heart without art.
It's true.
Look
Because
at
the
that.
heart, if you really want to talk about the heart doesn't lie. It's only when the head gets in the way, and then that's when things get a little bit, fuzzy.
There
and
is
not
such a
clear.
thing as overthinking.
Absolutely. Overthinking, but also putting on a facade that is not true to yourself. Usually
Oh,
that's the
100%.
mind that does that, and not the
Imposter
heart.
syndrome.
Yeah, it's the heart doesn't typically, the heart is like passion. It's where your truth is, I believe. And so yeah.
So Haaz, speaking of heart, when you prepare for characters that might involve you digging into a deep, dark space, how do you get into that process? What are you like on set? Do you not talk to people? Do you prepare them for it? And then how do you get out of it and move forward?
Ooh, that's a good one because I can get really
Dark.
bitchy and mean and unpleasant to be around because I have to protect myself when it's something like that because it's very precious and it's important to me as a truth teller is okay, how can I show this in the most honest way possible? So it will require, if it's dark and it's emotional, I will go there and I will prepare for that. And so when I show up on set, what I end up doing is I kindly ask people to give me space. I drink lots of water and I'm either listening to a certain kind of music that either reconnects me with my childhood or with certain memories, or I think of certain memories, or I think of 3 different things that I always circle back to that keep me in the same mode that I need to be in. But I try to protect my energy from the people around me, from the crew, from anyone, from other actors who want to keep talking. And I just give myself space. And I, like in The Visitor, the emotional scene at the detention center, they were all on set filming. I went back to my trailer. I locked myself up in my trailer. Literally, I locked myself up all day in the trailer on purpose to just feel how it would feel to be claustrophobic and to be entrapped in that sort of space like he was my character. And so Tom came out and he was knocking on my trailer. He's like, Haaz, are you in there? I'm like, yeah. But I was really mean, like, yeah, what do you want from me? And he's like, come out. I was like, I don't want to. He's like, are you okay? I was like, no, but leave me alone. And
I'm in character, people.
And then he's like, okay, all right, I'll see you later. And then I showed up on set, and it was magic. It was like, it worked. I was like, oh, wow. It was all a learning experience, too, because it was new for me to actually do something like that.
This is so interesting for me to hear. This is so amazing.
It's the nitty-gritty, a look inside. Thank you for gracing us with such an incredible episode.
Thank you for having me.
We have been learning and growing and feeling. And thank you for just, like Walid said, sharing your stories with us. It's moved me. I'm inspired. I'm going to be like floating a little bit higher.
I was worried like that would be boring because sometimes I could be like too deep in our conversations.
No, we do dive deep here.
Our
episode is about diving deep.
That's why we have wine.
Yeah,
okay?
we do have
wine. No, wine for us.
Yeah, right. And we're all about the stories and the elevation here. So thank you.
Yes.
For that.
And now for something a little lighter.
There we go.
Perhaps a game.
And this is the section where Walid is always teasing me to speak faster. It's like a tongue twister. He's like, Kavita, you need to ask these questions a bit faster.
Yes, so
this
you
is the this or that.
heard it right from Kavita. We're going to go as fast as we can through several this or that questions to get to know our special guest Haaz a little bit better.
Yep.
Haaz, we're going to do 2 30-second rounds.
Okay.
And your only job is to answer it as quickly as you can.
We just want to dive deep into your head.
All right.
My overthinking head.
Oh, no. All right. Let's see what happens.
It's chaotic up in there. Yeah.
And we're going to start with this or that with Haaz in 3, 2, 1. Action or drama?
Drama.
Yoga or Pilates?
Oh, yoga.
Theater or film?
Oh my God, no, both. I can't. I'm sorry.
Vintage Hollywood icons or modern day celebrities?
God, that's such a weird question. It's not a fair question. I'm sorry.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay, city living or countryside escape?
Countryside.
Comedy or romance?
Romance.
Art gallery or music concert?
Music concert.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Superhero or villain?
Villain.
Love.
Okay.
Okay, that was not bad.
That's not bad.
That was not bad. Okay.
But I feel like we can really
I think
pump the fire
I think
up.
I'm.
No, it is that overthinking brain he talked about.
I think you're helping me know myself better.
I know. No, these are great questions.
That's what we're here for.
But
Yeah.
I couldn't with the theater or film. No, I couldn't. Both. I can't.
We should ask
All of
between two of
them.
his co-stars. That would be a
Oh,
question.
no. Don't tear him apart between his co-stars. All right. The heat is being turned up as we go into round 2 of this or that, starting now. Beach vacations or mountain retreat?
Beach vacations.
Broadway musical or West End production?
Western production.
Book or movie adaptation?
Movie adaptation.
Musical theater or Shakespearean play?
Shakespearean plays.
Okay.
Cooking at home or dining out?
Dining out.
Documentary or animated feature?
Documentary.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Non-fiction.
Instagram stories or posts?
Oh. Oh my God. Both no.
Okay.
Early mornings on set or late nights on set?
Late nights.
Late nights on set. You
okay.
prefer to shoot late?
Yeah.
You don't
Because
want to be up early?
Very, very Middle Eastern Indian, right? But I'm also like that. I'm a
I
late-night
like
person.
to I like to wake up, take my time waking up. I don't want to be rushed when I'm waking up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just love my morning energy. It's at its top. Even though I don't like waking up early, I
Well-
like to get on set and have a lot
You
of
give me
energy.
morning
unless
person.
it's an emotional scene, you don't want to do it early in the morning.
Really?
I don't want to do emotional scenes early in the morning. So for me, it's always
Dampers your
you need
day?
the build up for the day?
when I wake up in the morning, you're happy. You're not sad.
Right.
I'm having my coffee. What's wrong with the world? It's beautiful. Everything's
Right.
great.
You're getting in
That makes
character.
sense.
you're
But you
setting
want,
the day
but
down.
then as the day goes by, my depression kicks in, and I can,
yeah.
and then I can connect with the emotional
Oh
stuff.
my gosh. Well, good
Love
to know. And what a fun 2 rounds to get to know you. We will wrap up our segment just with another way to get to know how to connect with you. Are you active on social media? How can our listeners get in touch?
Yeah, Instagram is basically my only go-to. It's
Okay.
Haaz.Sleiman. So Haaz. Sleiman.
That's HAAZ.SLEIMAN.
Perfect.
I got
yes.
it right?
You got
Ding,
it
ding,
perfect.
ding,
So people
spelling
can
bee.
find your projects on there, clips of things
Yeah,
you're working on. correct?
Absolutely, yes. And anything that I'm going to be involved in the future, I'm always posting about it,
Love, yeah.
letting all my beautiful fans that I love dearly know about. Yeah.
And
I
like
am-
Breaking Fast, for example.
Oh, yes.
Where can we
Yeah.
find that?
I definitely recommend for all the people who haven't seen it to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime and
Wow.
Tubi as well.
And Tubi as well. We can also catch Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
And folks, go check out Haaz's IMDb. You're going to see a list of
Amazing
projects.
projects.
Dig up Nurse Jackie seasons 1
The
and 2.
Visitor.
Watch The Visitor. I mean, the list goes on, and you don't want to miss any of those
I'm
projects.
going to be kicking back this week, getting a glass of wine and watching a bunch of Haaz's projects.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a
Before we
big
go,
fan.
Kavita, let us know how we can keep in touch
Yes.
with our show.
Our socials are at Lights Camera Conversation.
That's
I
right.
need to follow you guys.
Please follow.
Please
and if
do.
you want to check out our previous episodes from last year's podcast, Lights, Camera, Conversation, which inspired this fresh rendition, you can find that on all podcast platforms under Lights, Camera, Conversation with over 24 episodes. Now, without further ado,
Yes.
Haaz, thank you again.
It was so
We can't
amazing
wait to
to
see
have
you in your
you.
next
Yeah.
big thing on screen. Sis Kavita, it's always a blast.
Always a blast, bestie.
And without further ado, you're listening to Lights,
Camera
Convo.